Now we're going to actually call the meeting to order. We don't have our secretary today, I guess. Keisha Turkey, Ryan Banks, Roger Watkins, Wendy Washington absent, and Chris Ham. With that being said, you've all been sent the minutes for the April meeting. I'm sorry, approval of the amendments. I'm sorry. We have approval of the amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments to the current agenda in place? We have none. Okay, we'll go through the action items on the agenda. Appointment of the committee assignments.
That's 200 minutes.
I'll do the minutes first. Okay. Everyone has been sent the actual minutes. At this point, does anybody have any corrections to the minute, any comments on the minutes? Will we accept an actual motion to accept the minutes from last month, please, from April? Moved by Ryan Banks. Second by Roger Watkins. All in favor? Give it aye. Aye. Opposed? Hear none? Approve the minutes for April. Okay, we're going through the actual agenda now. The agenda action items are the appointment committee assignments, which I'm going to discuss that. Resolution to open Louisiana Asset Management Plan, the LAMP accounts, and then we'll go into the amendment to the authorization of the cooperative endeavor agreement. Or the action items on the actual agenda. With that being said, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? So, let's move by Melfa, second by Ryan Banks. All in favor? Opposed? Hear none, motion carried. With that being said, I guess we'll go ahead on the committee assignments. I did speak with a few people to find out that the City Council did not meet to approve and reinstate a few members of the board. That's been pushed back to June the 3rd. So I'm going to postpone again the appointment of committee members because we're going to have 3 new people to come on to the board, and the people that are here, their terms need to be renewed by the City Council. I don't want to appoint people to the board until we can have the entire board that's functional. So I'm going to again push back committee assignments until the next meeting in June so that we'll have a full crew on board that everyone's able to participate. So that's where we're going to go with the actual appointment of people on the committees. Secondly, we will discuss the actual LAMP proposal. Brian, I'm going to defer to you on the LAMP proposal if you can explain it and bring it to the board.
Mayor, I'll read the resolution then. Roger, can you follow?
Sure.
Okay. Whereas the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation, public benefit corporation of the City of New Orleans, is a public entity as that term is defined in the Articles of Incorporation of LAMP Incorporated and is subject to restriction imposed under the state laws of the state of Louisiana with respect to the investment of funds of municipalities, parishes, and other political subdivisions, a public entity. And whereas MYHMC has received and reviewed the depositing members' information statement and other such documents as it deems material related to an investment in the Louisiana Asset Management Pool, the LAMP, including documents relating to the organization and investment policies of the LAMP. And whereas the MYHMC has determined that an investment in LAMP is consistent with its investment authority, including any limitations imposed under the laws of the state of Louisiana, and such public entity now desires from time to time to invest its funds in the LAMP. Now therefore be it resolved that the MYHMC is hereby authorized and empowered to enter into an account application and agreement form for the purpose of establishing 1 or more accounts for the investment purposes in the LAMP, and be it further resolved that any 2 individuals named below, 2 signatures being required as to any transaction, in their capacities as authorized officers, employees, or agents of the MYHMC are hereby authorized and empowered to invest and transfer in their sole discretion funds from any such account established in LAMP for the benefit of the MYHMC, to issue letters of instruction related to any such account or investments thereunder, and to take any and all other actions which they, in their discretion, deem necessary or appropriate in connection with the establishment of 1 or more LAMP accounts in the LAMP and investment of funds thereunder. The names of people empowered are Christopher Hammond, President, MYHMC, Roger Watkins, President, Treasurer, MYHMC, Brian Whited, Executive Director, and Wayne Bloom, County. Undersigned certifies that they are duly appointed qualified secretary of MYHMC Corporation duly formed and operated pursuant to the laws of the state of Louisiana, and the foregoing resolution was duly adopted by the board of directors of MYHMC at a meeting held on the 13th day of May 2025, in compliance with state law and the corporation's bylaws.
Thanks, Ryan. This is really just to help our money work hard for us. Chase right now is paying about 2.3%, and it's about 4.4-ish. So, we have a significant amount of funds that are earmarked for, expenditures in the future, and we're just going to have them earn in good funds for that earned interest while it's just sitting there now. The funds are liquid with LAMP. It does take about a day or two to get from LAMP to Chase, so if you ever have to write a check for an emergency, it'll take a day or two, but I don't see any situation where we're going to have to, we run into a need for funds that we can't satisfy that quickly, or quicker than that. Anybody have any questions?
Just for edification, everyone's aware of what LAMP is. I had to actually go educate myself on LAMP. If you could just give us a brief understanding of what LAMP is.
Yes, Louisiana Asset Management Pool. Let's see, hold on. Right, so we're good. So,
Let me just read that out so everybody understands.
yes. So the LAMP portfolio includes only securities and other obligations with local governments in Louisiana are authorized to invest in accordance with the Louisiana RS Bill 33.2955. The following facts are relevant for LAMP. Credit risk for LAMP is rated AAA by Standard & Poor's. Interest rate risk, LAMP is designed to be highly liquid and give its participants immediate access to their account balances. There's never been a loss of principal since LAMP was started in 1994, and access to investment funds is available daily. There it is. There's some other notes here. So the city invests monies with Louisiana Asset Management Pool, LAMP, to serve an external investment pool administered by LAMP, Inc., a nonprofit corporation organized under the laws of the state of Louisiana. Only Louisiana local government entities have contracted to participate in LAMP, have an investment interest in its pool of assets. The primary objective of LAMP is to provide a safe environment for the placement of public funds in the short term, high quality investments. The LAMP portfolio includes only securities that are and other obligations in which local governments in Louisiana are authorized to invest in accordance with the statute I read earlier. The following facts are relevant for LAMP. That's what I actually read. Yeah, so it's a sound investment strategy for public institutions.
So Robert, I mean, there's no term, there's no like penalty if we have to like withdraw. It's basically just while money's there, it's maybe more interest than we're making on the checking account. But
Yes.
There's a 1 day lag, you know.
Right.
That's-
Okay. It's made up of a big pool of 30-day bonds and other.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily like a high yield CD or something. where,
It's a
like,
money
yeah,
market.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes.
Anybody else have any other questions on that? I would like to accept the motion at this point to adopt this resolution so that we can move forward using the LAMP program for investments. So it's moved by Mark Heck, second by Brian Banks. All in favor? Opposed? I hear none. Motion carried. So we have authorized Wayne to sign this resolution and move forward with this resolution. Next item on the agenda is the amendment to the authorization for the cooperative endeavor agreement.
Do we read it?
Just the amended portion that we're amending.
Well, if it's okay.
It's a, just go ahead and read it into record. I'm sorry. Just read it into record so we'll have it.
Resolution of the Board of Directors of the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation. I, the undersigned authorized officer of the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation, Louisiana Public Benefit Corporation, MYHMC, hereby certify that the following resolutions will be adopted by the Board of Directors of the MYHMC meeting. The Board of Directors on May 15, 2025, that the resolutions have not been amended, modified, or revoked, and are in full force and effect on the date hereof, and that the officers named in these resolutions hold offices attributed to them. Whereas the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation, MYHMC, is a public benefit corporation of the City of New Orleans, which leases from the City of New Orleans its property rights at West End. Whereas at a meeting of the Board of Directors on April 8, 2025, the Board of Directors adopted the resolution concerning the development of the property commonly known as the West End parking lot located in the West End area on Lake Pontchartrain. Whereas the resolution authorized Brian Whited as Executive Director of the MYHMC, the authorized officer, to, among other things, perform all necessary actions to continue to negotiate the agreement as defined in that resolution until it is in its final form, and to enter into the agreement and all other agreements, including the state lease as defined in the resolution, contemplated under or required to affect the intent of the agreement, each containing such terms and conditions as the authorized officer in his sole discretion deems appropriate and in the MYHMC's interest. Now therefore be it resolved that the authorized officer's authority under the resolution to execute the agreement is subject to the requirement that the agreement provides the execution of the project site lease as defined in the resolution will be subject to approval by the MYHMC and the New Orleans City Council. Further resolved that the authorized officer will seek approval from the President of the Board of Directors and the Secretary of the Board of Directors prior to executing on behalf of the MYHMC any agreements, including the state lease contemplated under or required to affect the intent of the agreement. Further resolved that all the actions taken or approved prior to the date hereof by the authorized officer in furtherance of these resolutions are hereby ratified and approved. Signatures.
This resolution will be authorized Brian to do everything. We did add in the actual checking balance that we had actually had the executive officer here and the actual secretary sign off on decisions that were made so that we continue to maintain the level of oversight, even though we've given the executive director the permission to go and move forward. There's a degree of oversight still with this board with the executive officer. So that is what this amendment is at this point. I want everybody to know what's going on. We want to make sure we maintain the degree of oversight and things. With that being said, I accept the motion at this point to accept the amendment to the actual resolution that was passed last meeting. So it's been moved by Roger Watkins. Second by Marquette. All in favor?
Public comment?
I'm sorry.
Public comment.
Public comment at this time on that? Any public comment? I'm sorry.
So you all are going to come back once the proposal is in, because the way it's worded, he can go forward with it.
No, actually, what it is, it said that he could go forward, and then after that, it said that it was amended, that he would have to come before he did that, he would have to come to the president and the secretary for the approval before he did anything. So that was the degree of oversight that we added into the resolutions last month, so that we continue to have this board in tune with what's going on and what's being done.
Thank you.
Any other questions, public comment? All in favor? Any opposed? Hear none, motion carried. Okay, moving forward again, financial report, Mr. Watkins, please.
As of April 30th, 2025, Municipal Yacht Harbor Corporation has total assets of $18,209,500, with current assets of $4,356,700, in the bulk of which is in the form of cash, $4.253 million in two accounts at JP Morgan Chase Bank. Net fixed assets total $1.183 million. Other assets include leases receivable of $12.24 million and deferred acquisition resources of $423,000. On the liability side, Municipal Yacht Harbor Corporation has total liabilities of $13.56 million, of which $571,200 are current liabilities, consisting mainly of accounts payable and accrued expenses of $127,200. Unearned revenues of $368,600 and accrued annual sick leave of $154,500. Long-term liabilities consist of net pension liability of $890,900 and $12.007 million for deferred inflow of long-term leases. That leaves Municipal Yacht Harbor Corporation with total equity of $4.6 unrestricted net assets. For the month of April, operations, total revenues of $217,000, total expenses of $182,400, which resulted in a net profit of $35,000. Year-to-date revenues are $816,700, with total expenses of $672,000, resulting in a year-to-date profit of $144,700. Current slip occupancy is at 98%, which is the highest since becoming fully operational in mid-2021. Kudos to the staff.
You've heard the reading of the actual financial report. Can I get a motion to accept the financial report? Moved by Ryan Banks. Second by Keisha Turquie. I'm sorry, any public comment at this?
I have a question.
I have a question. How much of the money is,
Before we go to public comment, just one question. Brian, we've got a $50,000 difference under the other OPG line. First budget, are there expenses that were, I mean, we've done well every month, right? We've profited. Were there expenses that are kicked later in the year, or are we just managing expenses?
I know the insurance expense comes up. We put that on an approval basis, so I think we're going to.
I mean, that's a good answer. I'm just wondering, it's like, if there was something that maybe hadn't hit yet, that would be aware.
No, the approval count should push off.
Okay. Okay. That was my one question.
I'm sorry.
yes, I was just wondering how much money is going to go from all that money into the LAMP program?
We haven't set up the amount. Typically, organizations do about 3 months worth of expenses and keep it in the checking account. We've also got a peg balance that we need to keep in the Chase account, which I think is about $400,000 to make the services free. So we'd probably be somewhere between those two figures and a couple million maybe in that. So looking at 20,000-ish in interest per year increase.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Is there any
I'm
way?
sorry. Back up a minute. Can you give me, first of all, we usually do use cards at this point. So for the record, would you please state your name and your vote house number, please?
Ewell Potts, Boathouse 24,
Okay. And then
or 7804 Breakwater Drive.
just for the minute, please, that's my oversight, and we're gonna start to use the public comment cards. I got away from it just now, but if you would, fill one out for me, do that. I'm gonna take your question as well.
Quite
Would you
long.
please fill out a public comment card as
I'm
well?
with the Lake Marina Tower, and I used to own the boathouse here.
Okay.
And I'm curious, I don't know, it's very hard for me to understand a financial statement unless I have it in front of me. Is there any way in the future that you could at least give us the financial report before we come to the meeting?
They're all right there. They're all on the table.
Okay.
I didn't know you were hiding it.
I'm sorry, we had a motion to accept the financial report at this point. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item on the agenda, we have the director's report.
So we do have a discussion about another Breakwater Park event. I'm going to push that today. And because I received the plan that I'll bring up, so I'll go through everything else first. Based on the last meeting, had discussions I was requested to get a quote to trim the palm trees, not the palmettos, but the actual trees, just do the trim. The quote was approximately $25,000 based on the city contract, and it will increase the visual appeal of the area. It is not going to increase the health of the trees. So it's something that does the board want us to spend that money on that at this time? Being pretty conservative with spending funds, because we're spending a lot of funds on this development projects and taking on new things. So that one would be one that I wouldn't do because it's not a safety issue, or it really strictly is visual appeal. But I'm certainly willing to take advice and direction from the board if they feel like that is the wrong choice today. get back to that. On the same note, when we did our inspection, we noticed a dying pecan tree on North Roadway, which we did have removed for safety issues because of upcoming storm. Derelict and abandoned boats. We're moving forward with legal action on some of them and other methods, contacting and finding owners, so we're getting some of those cleared out. Fishing pier, I have no update here, but we do there. Should start construction hopefully the beginning of next month. As another note, our work truck has become unreliable, so we're not using it, it's dying regularly. So we need to order a new truck based through the state contracts. We expect it to be here in 2 to 3 months.
Just a question on that, that was actually brought up, and I apologize. My question to you on that is that truck is used to do the garbage pickup and things like that, so probably once we get that new truck, we'll probably return to a more reliable garbage pickup, because it was brought up as a concern. So once we have that truck, we'll be able to do that. But I probably assume basically it's
Yeah.
more reliable.
So that was the idea, is we are hiring another
Okay.
maintenance worker to do primarily custodial work, but we need a truck for
Right.
them to use.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it out because it was brought up previously and kind of move forward with it.
Grounds patrol officers, we're fully staffed with grounds patrol officers right now. Again, we're continuing the process for a new maintenance worker / custodian, although we're really truck delivery, so they have something to use when they're hired. I do note, Lee Henderson contacted me directly because he wasn't able to make this meeting. He asked for additional signage at North Roadway and Breakwater. I did submit a request, and we'll follow up with an email to Public Works. Again, boathouse at 151 is still in disrepair, and I did not see any permitting on the city system, although we approved them to do some work. So I'm going to again follow up from them. The boathouse owners do have a time frame in which to get things done, so I'm going to start that immediate time frame now, since that project seemed to have stalled, as well as another one. And then pond upgrades. He asked about looking at pond upgrades. Previously, I did look into putting an aerator in the pond. We ran into some permitting issues and other things which have now been cleared up. I think that is more than just an aesthetic issue. It does help reduce mosquitoes and other things, so I'm going to look into that and see what that costs. The sale of boathouses, we're going to restart the process. I'll re-auction boathouse 31, which is just an empty lot. West End development, the RFQ is still in development, as well as the CDA is under negotiations. And West End expenses, stone pigment, or this year with this month for $38,375. Things total 2025 to $76,157. Getting to the Breakwater Park event, the group reset at sunset, which we have had some issues with in the past. Based on the size of that, I submitted a plan to get a more comprehensive operation of the system. I think it's a really good plan. I'm impressed, but including they are having a security plan with staffing of 4 off-duty and retired MPD officers, stating 2 officers at the park entrance to manage traffic flow and access points, 1 near the point to manage traffic, and another assigned at the boathouse areas. See, there will be a parking and traffic plan. There's an estimated 50 spaces at Breakwater Park area. The security company will help manage that parking. We're going to look into different overflow alternative parking areas and make sure that those have some signage and people know about them. And then carpooling and rideshare promotion is being looked at to add that drop-off zone, discounts from Lyft and Uber, and signage. And then facilities and bathrooms, which have been provided in the past, but we can increase those. 2 to 4 porta potties. 1 would be ADA compliant. Also, grounds sanitation, grounds maintenance, trash bins, other things, monitor bathrooms. And And then the marketing revisions so that it is not broadcast to the entire city, would be minimize social media campaigns and focus on the previous email list. I think those are excellent plan. And Nesby, would you like this? Nesby Phipps is running the reset subject. Would you like to add anything?
So I went over to, spoke with the captain, Mike Brinkle, over there, and he pointed me to Kelly Party to get the detail with the levy district. So they couldn't move forward on a full plan until we got a date, so we know who we could put in place. But they were very helpful. They even suggested my overflow to go to the parking lot behind Walgreens that was once used for the boat parade. So I went to that leasing office this morning and spoke with people over there. So we're in communication and they're open to it. It's just a matter of picking the date and getting the logistics down. Everybody's on board with everything whom I spoke to, who is of significance. And I even have United Way on board moving forward to help fund the event so we could adequately cover all the expenses because it is picking up as the popularity is growing. It is a free event, it's a community event. Started off very small, the popularity did pick up. But now it's time to like reel it in. That's why we want to kind of keep it off of social media, keep it within that email list. And just to give a full scope of what we're about, the nonprofit has 3 pillars. One of them is the wellness activations, which is what we do out here. The donations from that fund our art therapy program, and then we do artist enrichment, teaching artists how to turn their art into powers. So this is a full-on community, a whole strategy to go far beyond this event. It's not a social event, it's a wellness event. It started organically, very grassroots, and now our whole organization is being built around it. As I said, we got United Way support to really launch this thing correctly. And I appreciate all the patience you all have with me throughout this process of just growing. I had no intention for it to be what it was. I was just trying something out, and it's actually doing something good. So I appreciate y'all's support.
What was the expected number of attendees last time?
Pardon me?
The last event you had, what was the expected amount of attendees?
We were expecting about 500. I think what brought the numbers up was my alma mater had the reunion weekend. That's what the charter schools are doing now. So it's like an all-class reunion. And one of the events got moved from Saturday because it rained out, and that caused for an overflow from the event earlier that day. And that's why I think that's where the influx came from. But normally we average about 500 people.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear the name of the event.
Reset at Sunset.
Reset at Sunset.
Yeah, that's the event, but the organization is New Orleans Art Department.
I'll add you to the part of the focus about the truck. Okay. Any other questions?
Brian, do we have the ability to use the lot that we fenced?
Yeah, with some work, I need to
Okay.
look and see how
Seems
it
like
could be available.
Is that the one?
Yeah, right over here.
Okay.
It's property we control and everything.
Okay.
It's not full, but
Man, I really appreciate it. I appreciate your consideration.
Public comment?
Any other public comment on this? I'm sorry, on the director's report, because we're on the director's report right now.
Yeah, I just, and let me just say, from the time it started, I have been impressed by how the operation has been respectful of the people here and what's going on here. And as it got growing, of course, naturally there's some intrusion. And I really appreciate what you're doing now, this idea of the security plan. But one thing gave me some, my comment is that I remember last time, I believe it was Liz McAlpin said that the police turned away a boathouse owner who lived on Breakwater Drive.
Really?
Told her she couldn't come. So if we could make sure that the police who are controlling access to Breakwater Drive have the instruction, if somebody has a driver's license with a Breakwater Drive address, they have to be let through. I'll make sure to send out to our distribution list that when we know the date, that this event is coming, it's gonna be busy. If you leave, be sure to have your driver's license with you or another document that shows you have that address.
I can send out like a certified letter, because I know a lot of people with boathouses don't actually have their driver's license on those addresses.
Right, I just know their power, their electric bill, something to prove that they have that, because we don't want them turned away. I know you don't.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
don't want to put more work on you running the event, but I mean, I know it's much larger scale, but like the things like Mardi Gras and everything in the border, they give, or like, I used to live by the fairgrounds, it's as simple as like an 8.5 by 11, you know, like you could give to residents beforehand, that your security knows, like, okay, if they've got this piece of pink paper in their, you know, in their dashboard, they're a resident, and that way you're also not wasting the time of having people take their IDs out if their IDs don't match. It's just something that, you know, for $10 of printing,
Yeah, that's
could go logistically a long way.
Yeah, that's an easy, I could comply with that, for sure. I appreciate it, though.
Thank you.
I accept the motion at this point to accept the director's report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mark Hack, second by Roger Watkins, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we approve the director's report. I guess we'll move down to the Rules and Standards Committee. We just had a minute.
Okay, so we had one thing on the Rules and Standards Committee meeting this evening. It was in relation to boathouses 42 to 44, to request to build an open fence to provide security for parking. After reviewing the ordinance with Brian, the language doesn't allow for screening or enclosures. It's an open fence, you can see through, i.e. it doesn't screen, it doesn't enclose anything. So it was approved by the committee unanimously. There was some conversation that we may want to look back at those regulations to more further define it, so we have a clearer line for people in the future. But the matter today is approved to allow them to build a fence for the plans provided.
So there's a motion from the committee.
Yes, motion from committee for approval.
Okay, it's been moved, all in favor? I'm sorry, you're all right. Anybody have public comment on the actual committee proposed committee approval for the fence?
None submitted.
Okay. All in favor of the proposal from the committee, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hear that, motion carried. Okay, that is for the actual Rules and Standing Committee. Unfinished business. I'm going to postpone again the committee assignments. We do have several things that need to happen before we assign committees. We have new people that are going to come on board, and they postpone the meeting to approve everyone. So I'm going to wait another month before I do the permanent committee assignments, so that we can have an entire board functioning on those committees and spread out the workload. So I'm going to actually postpone that again. The Economic Redevelopment Committee, they met, what was it, last month?
They have.
No, we haven't given it a week yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, we had a meeting today with the quality of life, so we'll go through some of that. Some of the issues that went with quality of life was, first of all, the garbage pickup. You've noticed the actual increased garbage. It was partially because we're looking for a new pickup at this point where the employees can go and do that. But this time I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna come back to Mr. Banks so he can comment concerning quality of life.
Yeah, Brian, so we talked about the handicapping of the staff based on the truck being down and the golf cart being down. So I wanted to ask you to look into maybe purchasing an additional golf cart so that we don't handicap the services when one of the vehicles goes down, so we can have some redundancy and allow the guys to still get out and provide the services to them.
Is it budgetary not an issue? We're fine with that?
I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's one of those things, those are capital improvements. They're not, they don't apply to our operating budget. If we feel like we need another additional backup cart. Those golf carts are about,
It'd be a lot easier, you know.
I mean, the golf carts are about $15,000 for that setup, but
Okay.
we can do that.
I'm just making sure that we also don't cause a budgetary issue. It sounds good, we want to make sure we manage things frugally.
If you're getting a new truck done, it's really good for a few years before it's conditions.
You would hope.
And it's also going to be 2 to 3 months before it comes. So,
Yeah. So, it's fine. Next item was actually the grass. I know it was discussed and actually quality of life, but it was said that the grass is being cut every 10 days, but we still have a significant overgrowth. When they do cut the grass, there's quite a bit of the actual clippings that remain, because when grass gets really high, it turns brown. We have excess clippings that remain on the grass, it still stays high. Could you give us some insight on how that works? You said it's a city contract, there's nothing we can do, but I just want to reinforce at this point.
Well, it's our contract, it's just based using the city contracts.
Okay.
So I can, it's per cut, can request additional cuts. The biggest issue is when we get busy and have tall grass, so does everybody else. So it's actually getting them from out. And do it.
Okay.
It's sort of try to increase the.
Before we increase, we want to find out what it's going to cost budgetary wise.
It's, that's a $16.50 a cut.
Okay. Okay. That could be, you know, it can't be significant. Actually. It really can. That's what I was like, when you discuss what it's going to cost and how it's going to be done, we don't just want to jump out there and make that commitment and not really, we just want to look into it, see what it is and try and address it before we jump out and spend it. You know, you could have an extra $16,000 to $20,000 in, you know, cuts.
3 months, yeah.
Yeah,
Are we
really be mindful of that.
really seeing them every 10 days?
No.
So they haven't been, that starts about now.
Okay, I was gonna
They
say.
do it about every 14 to 18 days in the winter time.
Okay.
So, we have not seen them every 10 days, but that should be starting now. So no, we do know that it's, the last one was longer than.
Well, let's just pay attention to what's going on, and then we can make a decision accordingly.
I was just asking, is 10 days, like, I don't want to cut more frequently, I mean, once a week, you know, but.
Yeah, I mean, but, yeah. No, we'll look into it, you know, and, there's a city contract on it, so it's a good time to revisit.
Okay.
And then there were some issues discussing actually noise pollution and the actual evolution of what's happening, trying to control the noise at the venues at the other end, but also controlling some of the noise with construction and things like that. So there's just a brief discussion. I think I can sit down with you and then the board will sit down and we'll discuss what's going on with that and have it to be in line with the fringe of the West End, because they're doing quite a bit with the noise, things like that. So we want to make sure we're in line with everyone else and dealing with the actual noise issues. We have an issue about sewage and water board at, I think it's Boathouse 42, 43, and 44. It was reported previously that there were issues, but apparently there is a sewerage issue caused by what is being reported as a pole or post that has maybe damaged a pole. Maybe want to look into that and see what's going on, maybe to assist that resident. They're having issues in sewage backup, so we probably want to look at that. Again, that's Boathouse 42, 43, 44, Miss Julie, and we want to see what's going on with that. She's told us that it's been going on since February 1st, where she has had problems with the sewage line there, and that has been reported. So we want to look into that and see if there's anything we can do, first of all, to assist her, maybe to get the city services to assist and get it done, but also, I guess, call people that we can and try and get her all squared away when it is an actual health hazard threatening one here. Especially since we have sleeping areas where we don't want sewage in anything. The next one is Boathouse 45. There's been some issues with that. Does that boathouse had a roof tube fall, or did it have some debris issues there?
It did, the heavy rain, windstorm caused the roof to collapse. They were contacted that day and had a crew out to at least clean it at that point. I did look into, we approved their plans to start the construction, but they had not moved forward with the city. So basically, based on the terms of the lease, they're supposed to be moving forward with the city. If they had not, I will send them a letter saying, okay, you need to move forward with the city and do this, or come up with a different plan to secure it.
Okay. And I think, you see also that we've trash picked up, and I will go to, if I refer back to Mr. Stan Murray at this point. You did deliver to us to tell us what's going on with Friends of West End with the documentary and things like that. At this time, since you did bring it up in the quality of life meeting, could you please address the board as a whole, give us a similar report on what's going on with the documentary and the fountain at this point?
Yes, thank you. So the short story is a documentary that y'all have been helping us approve over the last year. It's been completed. We got notification this morning that Channel 12 WYES is going to be broadcasting it in July. And we are working to have pre-showings, and it's going to be a great event. It highlights West End, and especially the fountain and the history of West End, and it's actually really well done. We're very proud of it. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to you guys to give you all a preview as a board, maybe before the next meeting or after the next meeting, so we can get you on board. We're going to be using that as a fundraiser to collect funds to do other things to improve West End, to work in concert with your board to make West End a better place. I'll remind you, and some of you that may not have been on the board over the last 6 months, that we do have a agreement to work with your board in getting the fountain restored to a base level, and we're working with Brian on getting that moving forward so that we can, as the documentary comes out, we can have a fountain that will attract people to come out, enjoy West End, and raise some funds to help do the things that you guys aren't planning on doing because you're strapped and you only have so much resources and you're spending them judiciously. So we're partners, and we just want to let you know that we're working hard to make our partnership even stronger.
Will that documentary be made available to the board so that we can see it?
I can do that. I'd like to show it to you. I'm cautious that it's not public yet, and I need to actually, I just got the notice this morning in the contract with WYS, and I need to understand what we can do as far as showing it to others before, or broadcasting it before they can do that. So let me understand all the implications. I don't do this professionally, so I'm learning as I go. But we can make it available to you to watch, and I'd like to do some type of showing to the board. But I'm hesitant to email it out to people until I understand all the implications of what we can and can't do, and not have an issue with having it broadcast in a bigger letter.
Yes.
So I'll keep up with you on that, and we certainly are not hiding it, but I want to make sure we're doing it properly.
And sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot just one more time.
I'm sorry, so Brian has seen it.
Okay.
And I'll back up, so now I'm remembering the implications. So part of the issue was that we all agreed with the board that we would not do anything in the documentary to politicize the west side of the park being developed as a snapshot. And so Brian has been on the committee since day one, and with the producers, and has seen the final version. There's a minor change that happened today. There's a couple of language that Channel 12 needed to move forward, and I'll share that with Brian. But he's approved along the way to make sure there wasn't anything. There were a few items that on the first 3 or 4 drafts that we both agreed probably shouldn't be in the final draft. And our bigger committee is, there's been no controversy, and anything Brian had a concern with was the same concern we had. So all the way along, he's been involved in initial meetings with the producers all the way to the end. So y'all have been engaged through Brian all the way through. So it's not something we're hiding. It's just
Not all, it's actually the product before the public, the board could actually view this.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't want to, but I know the implications of what are going on. That's why I asked that the board can see it before it's able.
Absolutely. Yes, we'll make that happen.
Okay. The second thing, you spoke about your efforts with the actual levy board police with noise pollution and things like that. Could you please share that in this actual video, the actual rest of the board, please?
Sure, thank you for the opportunity. So the Friends of West End has been working with the levy board, as they've renamed the police department as Levy Board Police again, I believe, which are tied to the Lakefront Management Authority, LMA, which is Louis Capo's executive director. And they have, as a state agency, been very engaged since Easter and now Mother's Day, of adding a huge amount of security and cleanup efforts on Lakeshore Drive between the Seabrook Bridge and Lake Marina Avenue. And they've added a major amount of trash pickup on those crazy weekends where there's lots happening. I asked them to extend that, to consider extending that out to the point, considering it was should be one contiguous piece as part of the parish. For many reasons, it wasn't on their radar, and they assumed that since we were handling things out here, we mean your board, that it wasn't needed. I suggested to them that I was going to connect them with Brian, and that considering they were doing this big project, adding an extra half a mile may not really affect their world, and it could benefit us. And for crazy weekends, having extra trash pickup with their group is something that, as of last week, they said they were open to that idea. Please connect us. So Louis Capo knows Brian, they know each other. And the superintendent of the levy board police is very open to this and has really been a great player. He's been helping us negotiate with the restaurants and has gone to the meetings, shows up on weekends, has gone out with decimal meters, and is very engaged about causing communication or forcing communication where it's been stubborn in the past. And I think we have a very good partner there. And he's not engaged at West End because for whatever reason they've kind of stopped at Lakeland Avenue. So I just think that it's a great opportunity, considering how engaged he is, to connect our group with the LMA and the levy board police while they're in such a cooperative mode. That's it.
Thank you so much. At this point, at the meeting, Brad's going to do the actual set up the date time of the next meeting. I think it's scheduled for June 10th. That's next month is going to be here. North Roadway right here. So our next meeting is going to be on the 10th of June at 6:30. As at this time, we're going to actually enter executive session. So at this time, we're not going to join the meeting, but the board is going to enter into executive session at this point. So the rest of the actual public will have to ask.